I felt the sleep paralysis coming on. I saw this black shadow, just dark black outline of a person, kind of an alien-esque, long fingers, and it was just terrifying. And it was looking at me, and I realized I couldn't move anything. I couldn't scream, and he came closer, and he crawled onto my stomach, and he shoved his hand in my mouth.
Warning, ignorance isn't protection, it's deception. There's a war happening right now, beyond what your eye can see. The enemy is after your mind, your home, and your destiny. But the one who speaks truth is calling you higher. This is God's Voice Daily, where the supernatural gets real. And here is today's featured episode. Enjoy. And welcome to God's Voice Daily. You had a terrifying demonic encounter that led you through years of sleep paralysis and even speaking with dark spirits until the moment you met Jesus face to face. So Ian, tell me more. What happened?
Yeah, so in my 20s, I was kind of in a dark place. My life was all screwed up, and I had to drink just to get through the day. Like my stress level was unbelievable, and I started having sleep paralysis. And it just started like I felt like there was something in the room with me, and it was so weird. It was like I was awake, but I was asleep at the same time. And I remember laying in bed right next to my girlfriend at the time, and I could like almost see through my eyelids. It felt like I could see the room all around me, and I just felt this terrible, evil presence, but nothing would ever show up. And then it didn't happen for years. And then one night I was laying in bed, and I felt the sleep paralysis coming on, and the same thing, like I'm looking through my eyeballs, it feels like. It's weird. Like I felt like I was awake, but I wasn't. And I saw this black shadow person. It was like the just dark black outline of a person, kind of an alien-esque, long fingers. And it was just terrifying. And it was looking at me, and I realized I couldn't move anything. I couldn't scream. And it was just, he would come, and he came closer, and he crawled onto my lap, or crawled onto my stomach, and he shoved his hand in my mouth. And I remember trying to scream, and my mouth was muzzled, and all I could do to fight back was just blow my breath at it. And it was like, as soon as I did anything to fight back, it just broke into a million pieces and disappeared. And I realized at that point, I'm like, okay, well, that was real. That was a demon, and they obviously feed on fear. And I was like, if you're not afraid of them, they're not going to have any power, you know? And when after that happened, that was the last time I got sleep paralysis. And I was living in a house with my son, and I was discussing this with him, and he said that he saw it when he was a little kid, that he saw a shadow person. And it kind of really freaked me out. But anyway, later on down the road, I've always been real spiritual, but I've never went to church, anything like that. My parents are agnostic, so I wasn't raised that way. But I just knew there was a God, you know, just look around. All you can see, there's obviously a designer, you know, that's what I thought. And I'm like, something's wrong with this creation, obviously. I didn't understand it. But I remember one night I was so tired of living that life of drinking and going out to the bar and stuff. And I remember one night I was at home. I was like, I'm done. I didn't drink at all that night. I was like, I'm just so done of living this life, you know? And I was like, I was real I felt repentance. I mean, I did not want to live like that. And I just started praying to God. And I just remember my mind was so clear. And I was like, God, if you're real, you know, who are you? Where are you? And I heard a voice. And all of a sudden I heard another voice, these two voices talking. And it was almost like, it was almost like a telepathic type thing. I couldn't see anybody. And I was just sitting there going, oh my God, I'm wide awake, and I'm hearing these two voices, right? And they're talking to me. And I realized this is something spiritual. This is in the spirit world. But so I started asking them questions about the spirit world, and they were answering me. And they were like these two voices, and they were talking like friendly to me, but I could just feel evil, like hatred coming off it. Like they could not hide that. So I knew it was a charade. I'm like, this isn't, whoever these spirits are, they hate me, and I can tell. And it was just so dark and ominous. I remember asking, I'm like, is there any humor, on that side? And this voice, he told this joke, and it was like, it was about the Mormons and the Smith family. And the way he worded it, it was this really funny joke, and I laughed. And then later, when I thought about it, I realized it was like this evil joke about Mormonism and how they were fooled and proliferated, and now it's everywhere. But anyway, so
interesting.
So I'm talking to these voices, and and it, like I say, it's a real dark vibe. And then all of a sudden, like everything, like the room felt like it changed. I'm like, instead of dark, it was getting like a lighter vibe. And I was just like, and I remember saying out loud, I'm like, God is here. Almost like it was like I knew God was there. Excuse me. And when I said that, these two voices I was talking to, one of them said, "What is he doing here?" And the other one said, "I don't know." And then they were gone. They were quiet. And I could see, like, I remember I closed my eyes and I could see like these blue, like crystal things. Like, it was so weird. It was like going through a cave, and it was like outfolding, and it just stopped. And I heard my name. I heard my name being called, Ian. But it was like in this, just right to my spirit, calling my name. And he called it again. And the second time he called, it's this gentle voice. But I knew it. I knew that voice. And I'm like, oh my God. And the second he said that my name second time, I knew who it was. And I was like, oh my God, this is Jesus. And the weirdest thing was, like, I felt like he was my friend. Hold on. Sorry, I can't. Can we pause for a second?
Absolutely. I can only imagine when you revisit that story and you go back to that perfect love.
Oh, man. So, okay. So he calls my name. I know who it is. And he says, "You've sinned against the Lord." And it hit me so hard. I remember I felt so low, like I was lower than a worm. And, but the reason I felt that way is because he was not condemning me. He was like, I felt love like I've never felt in my entire life. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hold it together. Hold on. It's just, emotionally, I didn't realize it'd be this hard to talk about it. I'm sorry.
And this is completely normal. It's completely normal. A lot of people, when they encounter Jesus, man, when I had my face-to-face encounter with Jesus, when he told me my name, I broke down like a baby, started crying. And he
called your name as well?
Well, I asked him, I said, "Well, if you're Jesus, tell me who I am, because you should know if you're Jesus." And he said, "You're Vladimir Viktorovich Praknevsky," which is my full name. And I just like, oh man, I have chills right now just thinking about it. I just dropped down to my knees, started crying. And he was looking at me, he was puzzled. He's like, "Wow, all I said was your name and you already believed me and cry?" And I'm like, yeah, it's all it took. But the reality of who you're speaking to hits you hard. Hey, before we get back to the episode, I've interviewed nearly 2,000 people about their supernatural encounters. And after hearing all those stories, I started writing down the most powerful lessons I've learned. And I keep updating these lessons every single day. And guess what? You can read them for absolutely free at godsvoiceday.com/lessons. And now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah. So, okay. So he said, "You've sinned against the Lord." And like I said, I felt shame, like unbelievable shame, because I felt his pureness and his holiness. It's like I can't even describe it. When that word holy means something different to me now. And I understood that second why we're sinners, you know? I mean, after you meet him, he's so pure, and you can't be around it, you know? And, but anyway, so he said, you sinned against the Lord. And he said, you have three choices. He said, you can die, you can go to prison, or you can live with pain, extreme pain. But I will be with you and I will bless you. And I chose number 3 because after meeting him, that's where I want to be, is wherever he is. And I figured if he's going to be with me and bless me, then I can get through anything. And so here I am 20 years later, and I'm in pain. My back is so screwed up. I mean, I'm just in constant chronic pain. I've got a spinal cord stimulator, all sorts of problems with my back, and it's been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But when so later when I read John 10:27, I think, I like when he came to me, I was not a Christian. Like I said, I was just praying to God. But so later, after that, I started chasing him, going to church. I got baptized, started reading the Bible, and I read John 10:27, and it says, my sheep know my voice, and they follow me. And I was like, that happened. The weirdest thing was I like felt like I knew him, and he knew me, and it's like, that verse means so much to me now when I read it. It gives me comfort, even though I'm going through all this. I think it's chastisement, but that's where I'm at. That's my story.
Wow, so much to unpack here. It's interesting when you go through something like that. It does hit you on emotional levels, right? When you revisit that story, it takes you back. It really does.
Yeah.
It takes you back. And it not just takes you back in your mind, but in your emotions. And so I totally understand the tears. But you were talking about the demons. You're talking about how they feed on fear. They're like dogs. If you walk by a dog and you're not scared of it, it's not moved. In fact, it's interesting that you brought up that example. You said the statement, they feed on fear. Last night I had a dream, and in that dream, I forget who it was, but one of my family members. I knew that there was a lion outside. He's like, "Oh, don't be afraid of the lion," and he just comes out there, just like walks around like all like loose and smiles and just walks around. Comes back up, it's like, "See, no, nobody attacked me." And he basically was trying to teach me a lesson that they will only attack you if you're scared. And same on with demons. Yeah, you feed on fear. Fear is the only thing that they have to fight you with, right? Lies and fear. So that was kind of interesting. But the Mormon joke, interesting. Why?
Yeah, I wish I could have remembered all that. It was so weird. It was like a double kind of, at the time I thought it was just a funny joke, and then later when I was revisiting this in my mind, I was like, oh, there was a total different meaning to that joke. And it was, I can't remember it, but it was weird.
When he said you sinned against the Lord, was he specific about what exactly that you've done?
No. So it could be a number of things. I wasn't even concerned with it. I was like, it could be anything. I felt, I just like revisiting all the things I've done, and like I lived a sinful life. And I don't think it really mattered what the sin was. It's just, I don't know. Like when I was growing up, I've always been spiritual. I played, tarot cards and Ouija boards and all sorts of stuff, so it could be that. I didn't treat my body. I drank alcohol all the time. Fornication, it could have been a number of things. But for whatever reason, I didn't even feel the need to ask him what that was.
It's like you were aware that you were falling short anyway. You knew that as a whole, your whole life was not living for him. So you didn't question it.
And I remember clearly the next day I was in the shower just thinking about this, and I was just like astonished. I couldn't believe that happened, and I didn't. You'd think I would come to Christ right away, but I was so dependent on alcohol, and my life was so screwed up. I didn't know Christianity. I was like, I guess I need to clean myself up and come to Jesus, And I couldn't. I tried and tried and tried. And about the time I gave up, he just cleaned me up. And it's like you don't clean yourself up before you take a shower, And that's kind of what it's like. And I wish more people understood that. Just come to him broken.
Wow. Yeah. We wait until we clean ourselves before we come, but he's saying, no, you come as you are. Let me do the cleaning.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's he does, man. He does it to everybody different. But like, I remember a while ago, I tried drinking a beer and it felt like poison to me. And I have like a sip and I'm like, I don't even want it. I have no desire for alcohol whatsoever. So I think, and I was dependent on it. And now I have peace, man. I'm in pain, but he's taking care of me. And it's, I just think it's a process.
So he held on to his promise, right? He said, yeah, you will have some suffering. You'll be in pain. But even that is interesting that he didn't take that away from you.
No, sometimes I maybe he still will. But I mean, I can't remember if I said this part, but I chose number 3, and he said, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to be head to head, heart to heart, and fist to fist.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that right there, I must not have said that. I'm sorry, but that was the last thing he said to me.
Head to head, heart to heart, and fist to fist. What do you make of that?
Well, I think about it a lot. I think head to head, I figure thinking clearly about things, maybe thinking logically about stuff, thinking like Jesus, and then heart to heart, having a heart like Jesus and fighting like Jesus, with the Bible.
Basically, the way I take it is like all in, spirit, bodies, all of it. Like he wants you all. He doesn't want you.
Yeah. And I don't know what to do with that. It's not a half-efforted thing. Yeah, and he said many people will come to the Lord through you, but that hasn't happened at all.
This could change with this upload. Thousands of people will hear your testimony. So, that could be the fulfillment of that prophecy.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I'd love to see anybody get helped.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story. I remember publishing one of my very early testimonies. So I started this channel, not this channel, but the God's Voice Today channel, a year and a month. I started September 11th, 2024, right?
Okay.
So, and I remember featuring this one gentleman. He was a former homosexual guy who had AIDS, died, a flatline, went to hell, came back, and he shared his testimony. And he's now, Jesus delivered him from all of that. He has a wife, and he's completely normal now. But I remember him sharing 2 weeks or so later, he said, Vladimir, after that interview, he said, I want to say he said like 200 or something close to that people reached out to him from a homosexual community asking how they can be free.
Wow.
So that's what testimonies, and that at that point that I remember thinking like, wow, testimonies are so powerful. They're like, sometimes they're more effective than sermons because they're so relatable. Like testimonies, someone who's going through stuff, sharing their testimony is very effective.
Yeah, I love reading them. I mean, I go on like Christian websites and I read them because they're just fascinating. All the different ways that he talks to people,
Well, and that's why I named it God's Voice Today and God's Voice Daily, because you can almost hear God's voice in these testimonies.
Yeah.
It's like as a whole,
awesome.
It's like
I watch your show all the time.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, you'll be one of those testimonies, and I know it'll be a blessing for a lot of people. I'm curious, how long ago did this happen?
So that happened. Let's see. I'm guessing a good 20 20 to 25 years ago. I was in my mid-20s. So yeah, I'm almost 50 now. So, I guess that's almost 30 years, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. So,
And
yeah, it
still,
was quite a while ago.
And you're still getting emotional thinking about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard him a couple more times. I've had some really rough times, and it's amazing. Just one word from him can lift your year. He knows what you need, and he gives it to you, and he takes care of you, and
Man,
I'm sure glad I met him.
I've got chills just when you said he'll take care of you. The moment you said that, I had the chills go through me, because you said just one word from him. I remember when me and my twin brother, we used to have a business together, and we had some challenging times. And I remember I was speaking to him, I was like, man, just you watch. We are one creative idea away from a breakthrough. And I kept saying it and saying it. Both of us kept saying it to each other. We're just one creative idea away from a breakthrough, because the unlimited source of creativity is in you. One creative idea from the Lord can change your marriage, can change your financial situation, can change everything, right? And that's why it's important to first seek the kingdom of God, his righteousness. The rest will be added unto you, because one idea from the Lord can change everything for you. And you know what? For us, at that time, I'll never forget, I was on the couch when that idea, I was like, I need that idea. And it came to me, and it changed our business at that time. We were able to eat, nice. We lived another day. Yeah. And
awesome.
And so for everyone watching and listening, those of you that are hurting and struggling and you feel like there's no way out, man, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. The limited source of creativity is in you. And you just have to get alone, get quiet, and first seek the kingdom of God, his righteousness. He will give you that next step. So in closing, is there anything else you want to share before we disconnect?
Just Jesus is the way and the truth. Follow him. He's the only way. And this is a hard test that everybody's going through. And there's only one way to win this game, and that's Jesus.
Hey, well said. And thank you so much for sharing your testimony.
Thank you,
Appreciate it, man. This was awesome.
All right.
We'll stay in touch. God bless. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If today's episode spoke to you, share with someone who needs to hear it. And if you had a supernatural encounter of your own, I'd love to hear it. Just go to godsvoicetoday.com/call to schedule your call. And I'll see you in the next episode. It should be coming up right here on the screen.